Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to week 14 of my weight loss journey, my health journey that I am on, that I am documenting every week over here. For those of you that have kept up watching every single week, I just want to say thank you. Your comments in the comment sections, the many, many messages that I've received are so encouraging and inspiring, and I just want to say I really, really appreciate it. So many of you have reached out to me, not just in leaving comments on the videos, but have DM'd me, and a couple of you have even emailed me, sharing your stories with me, sharing with me how you got stuck for long periods of time and just kept up with it and eventually met your goals and have maintained your goals. And many of you have shared with me what you did that worked for you. And I just want to say I really, really appreciate it. It makes me feel less alone as I'm on this journey. I do have accountability partners. I said that a couple videos ago, that I identified some people in my life as accountability partners when I'm like really craving food or really wanting to eat bad and things like that. And so I have those people, but it's also very, very encouraging to have so many of you guys leave just, really the nicest comments, honestly, and just the messages that I've received. And so many of you are like, Peter, just keep on with it. You know, you sharing your story. So honestly, over here is really, really helping us, and it's going to help you in the long run. And I just want to say, I really, really appreciate it. I have been in this state, I would say, for like the last 3 weeks where I have felt very, very stuck and just not super motivated, to be honest with you. And this is kind of a pattern for me when I have tried to get healthy in the past, and specifically in the weight loss arena. You know, I'll lose a bunch of weight and then I get stuck, and then I just kind of, after a while, it's like weeks on end, I just kind of give up, and I'm just like, okay, I know that I'm not doing this, and I know that I'm not doing that, but I am doing this, and I am doing that, and nothing seems like enough. And you know, I think it's easier sitting on the outside looking in, and being like, okay, well, why can't they do this, and why can't they do that, and whatever. And, you know, one of the things that, and this is going to sound kind of corny, but one of the things that has really helped me this time is having watched the reality show 1,000 Pound Sisters. Because I can remember when I was watching it, and, you know, they would have to lose a lot of weight before they had weight loss surgery and things like that. And they knew the things that they would have to do. I can remember, you know, Tammy's doctor telling her to just take, you know, 75 steps around the house during the day, and she really was resistant to that and really had a hard time with that because she had a hard time walking and things like that, you know? Well, if you translate that into my life is that I need to be walking probably 3 to 5 miles a day, you know? And that's what I was doing when I started this, and I'm not doing that right now, right? And so when you watch a show like that and you see people struggle, and I just felt, I felt so much for everybody on that show and like how hard they worked towards their goals and getting weight loss surgery and things like that, you know? And that show is really, really inspiring to me. And so I try to remember that, you know, and the last couple weeks I have just felt really, really stuck. Today I weighed myself, and I honestly thought that I probably lost like 3 pounds in the last week. I was like, okay, it's not going to be like, you know, I think the days of me losing 7 to 10 pounds in a week are over. That's like a lot of water weight at the beginning, you know, and things like that. That's not who I am today. My metabolism is different, and I've already lost the water weight. So that's not going to happen, right? But I, honest to God, thought, like, you've done a pretty good job this week. Now, I will tell you a couple things that I have just completely let go to the wayside is that I'm taking walks, but not every day, and my walks are very short. When I started this, I was walking an hour to an hour and a half every single day, and I was absolutely loving it. I'm not somebody that loves to, like, work out and sweat and just, you know, like, when I get in it, when I'm in that mode, like, back in the day, as I'm saying it, I'm like, well, you used to run, and you used to love that, and you used to, like, you know, do the Stairmaster machine in the gym for, like, an hour and a half, and you loved it, and all that kind of stuff. When I'm in it, I guess I do, but I'm not in that phase yet where I love it. And so when I originally started walking, it was colder outside. I was taking these brisk walks, you know, and I really enjoyed it. And I was listening to these mystery books. The last couple weeks, my walks have been sparse, and they haven't been as long. It's been warm outside, and I've been listening to music instead of books. I've really gotten away from listening to books, which was one of the things that was kind of motivating me to to go out and take my walks. Now, the reason that I'm sharing this with you is because I think that on any health journey, most of the things that I've learned in my life that have helped me be successful in certain areas are by looking at the things that I've done that haven't been successful. So that's why I'm kind of pointing these things out. And things that I've learned in the last couple weeks. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm like on the fence. Like, you either do it and you're going to start losing weight and you're going to start feeling better, or you don't do it and you keep on complaining. And that's kind of where I'm at today, in all honesty. I weighed myself today and I was 208 exactly, which is 0.4 pounds down from where I was last week. So it's loss. And I know that a lot of people, because a lot of people last week were like, I would be really, really happy with the loss that you're having, or that you're even maintaining a weight loss. It is some loss. But, I think about the fact that I was like 207 when we went to Mexico, and I'm just trying to get back to where I was at like the beginning of the year, like, when we were in Mexico for New Year's. And I'm just trying to get back to that point, plus lose like 30 pounds more, right? So the fact that I feel very stuck and I've plateaued is really, really hard. But I'm also somebody that when I feel that way, not just in a health journey, but anywhere in life, I look at, okay, Peter, what obstacles do you have in front of you? Which ones are you in control of and which ones are you not in control of? And the reality is the majority of the obstacles that are in front of me are things that I'm 100% in control of. I can go out and I can walk 3 to 5 miles every single day. I can go walk, an hour and a half. And I was enjoying it when I did it. I don't know what's happened in the last couple weeks. I think I thought that I was going to start this and every week it was going to be like 4 to 5 pounds, and that's where I was like when I was in my 20s, when I was like working out 5 days a week. I could just I could drop weight that quick, and that's just not the truth anymore. And it's not just about the weight loss for me, but that is a huge part of it. When I have my doctors wanting me to lose weight, and I have that programmed in my head and things like that, and so it's a struggle for me, and I feel stuck sometimes, and then that stuck goes into the emotional eating, which is then where the accountability partners come into play, and where I have to talk to my therapist and my sponsor about my emotional eating. Because when I feel stuck, my go-to response, and this is very similar to my early days of recovery from drug addiction and alcohol, is that it's very similar to that, and that my go-to when I just feel like, what's the point, is just like give up, right? And if that had been the case in early sobriety, I wouldn't be sitting here sober today. And so that's something that I struggle with that. And I see the similarities between food addiction and between drug and alcohol addiction. And this is the thing, not everything that is keeping me from my goals has, and I think it's easy for us, and I think society, to label, well, it's food addiction, well, it's emotional issues. All of those things are true and are part of my story, but that's not the reason that's keeping me from meeting my goals. The reason that I'm not meeting my goals, in all honesty, is because I'm lazy. I could be walking 3 to 5 miles every day. Alex asks me every single day, and not like in a condescending way, but in a very supportive way. He's like, babe, are you going to take your walk today? He's like, you were really loving your walks. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And then I go walk for 15 or 20 minutes and then I'm back, right? Because then I can check it off my list that I took my walk for the day. But that's nothing in comparison. I mean, it's something, but it's nothing in comparison to the hour and a half, the hour that I was doing. And I was really enjoying it, right? So the walks have gone way down. The other thing is I have completely given up. And I think I said this a couple weeks ago too, and I still haven't started it up again. I completely gave up on my health journal, where I was documenting my walking. I was documenting my weightlifting, which I haven't done in a few weeks now. I was documenting my water drinking and things like that. And so I very much was keeping on top of it. That's one of the things I want to do in the next week coming up. I know the things I need to do. And so I'm like, okay, if you know the things you need to do, then you need to remove the obstacles to be successful. Because I don't want to get on another video and be like, well, I feel stuck again, or I feel plateaued, or I haven't done the things. When I know the things that I need to do, the eating thing actually is probably, for me, the thing that I am doing the best at right now. I'm making better choices. I'm not eating or ordering food as much. And when I do, I'm making better choices at ordering food. When I go out to eat places, I'm making good choices. I'm only eating like half my meal and things like that. So I'm doing better with the food choices. We don't have snacks in the house. Well, Alex has his snacks, but they're not snacks that I eat. I don't have snacks in the house that I keep around to just like snack on at 2 o'clock in the morning and graze. Like, I got rid of all those. So I'm making better choices when it comes to food. The water, I'm probably about half where I was when I started this whole thing. I started this thing with, I was so passionate about it. And I don't know what happened. I think I initially lost some weight. weight. And then I just was kind of like, okay, like this is going to actually take some work, you know? Like, well, anything that's worth it, it's going to take some work. And I know that. And so, you know, even though me losing 0.4 pounds is good and I'm proud of it, at the same time, at the weight that I'm at, if I were like walking every day for, let's just say, even 45 minutes to an hour, right? And I was lifting weights, let's say 3 to 5 times a week, whatever, I would probably be feeling physically better and losing a little bit more weight on top of that. You know, my body would be tightening up, I would be feeling better, things like that. And also drinking more water, because that's one thing that's gone away a little bit. I'm drinking a lot of coffee, but I'm not drinking water. And, you know, people say that like, well, coffee counts as water. It doesn't, because it's got caffeine in it. And so, you know, and I actually have been thinking recently about maybe doing like a 48-hour cleanse, like a 48-hour fast. I'm somebody that loves fasting. I always run it by my doctor, and I suggest that you do the same thing. I always run it by my doctor when I do a fast. But I'm somebody that always feels very clear-headed and clear-minded. For me, a fast is not just a physical fast, but it's also a spiritual and a mental fast, an emotional fast. And I always feel better afterwards, and I feel more inspired once I do a fast. It also kind of puts things in perspective for me as far as health. And if I make it through like a day, 2 days without eating anything and just drinking water, you know, and usually I do a fast where I drink water and I also drink coffee. But at the end of it, I usually feel a little more clear-headed, but I'm also like, okay, you don't, like, I love this statement. I heard this years ago, and like 20 years ago I heard this, and I don't live by it, but I love this statement, and it's a good reminder for me. Eat to live, not live to eat, and I'm definitely somebody that lives to eat, because I love food, right? But when I do a fast, it reminds me, you don't need to live to eat. You actually need to eat to live, right? And so it's a reminder of that. And so I've been thinking about doing that lately, that maybe taking like a day or two and just doing an emotional, spiritual, and physical fast to just kind of like jumpstart all this for me. I mean, we're on this is week 14. We're on week 14, and I'm plateaued, and I'm struggling, and I'm starting to beat myself up a little bit emotionally. Not as much as back in the day. And I think this is the background story that I don't, like, I've talked about, like, having gained a lot of weight, having lost a lot of weight. But, you know, when I go in here and I go into my fitness pal and I look at, like, the past years, it was literally, like, you know, I mean, the fact that I'm, like, you know, 208 today, when, you know, for the last, let's say, I think it was like the last 10 to 12 years, I was between like 230 and 265. And it would be like one day I'd be like 230. And if you look at it, it's like then the next time I weigh myself in, which might be 2 days later, I haven't been weighing myself every day either. And I will say, and I know that research and science says not to weigh yourself every day. For me, and I said this a couple videos ago, and I stopped doing it because I thought, well, let's try the alternative to it. Let's try what people say. I don't think that not weighing myself every day works for me. I think that getting up and weighing myself every day is a reminder of the journey that I'm on, no matter what the number is. And so that's something that I think I'm going to go back to, is weighing myself every day. But when I go back and I look at my fitness pal, which is like, let's say I was weighing in like every 2 to 3 days, every day, whatever. It was always like, you know, it'd go up a pound, then 3 pounds, then 6 pounds. I mean, I would gravitate between like 230 and 250 over the course of a month. And it was like up 3, up 8. And then when I would get like, let's say close to like 245, I'd be like, oh God, you've gained like 15 pounds. And then I would like do all this stuff to like try to lose weight, you know, for 3 days, and you'd see it. And so like literally my fitness pal is like this. There's no consistency to it. It's not making healthier life choices. It's not, you know, eating healthier consistently. I think that's probably the number one thing I've learned about this is consistency. And the one consistent thing that I have done is got on here every week and made a video, with the exception of when we were in Miami. And I'm proud of myself for that, because I thought this might be something that I do. I actually either thought one of two things. I thought I was either going to get on here, and I think I shared this a couple weeks ago, and I was just going to lose a bunch of weight, and this channel was going to turn into me showing myself like making yogurt smoothies in the kitchen, and I was like, you know, 170, and I was running 5 miles a day. That was kind of like my idea, you know, like the Lululemon world that I talked about a couple videos ago. Or I thought, like, I'd do it for 2 weeks and give it up, because that's typical of who I am when it comes to health things, is that other than my sobriety, which has been the one thing that I've been consistent about for over 29 years, that's been my consistency when it comes to fitness and healthy eating, is that I do it for a while and then I give it up. And that's the problem, right? Which is why and the diet thing for me, going on a fad diet, doing this, doing that, doesn't have longevity for me. I'm 51 years old. I know, I kind of know what works and what doesn't work for me. That doesn't mean that I do what works for me. It means that I know what works for me. And what works for me is eating healthier, eating a low amount of calories, having fitness and being active every single day, taking care of myself, continuing to go see my doctors and dentists and things like that, drinking a lot of water. That's what keeps me healthy. That's what keeps me in check. When I look back at the periods in my life where I was the healthiest, I was at a weight that I was happy with, I was happy when I looked in the mirror, and that's a huge part of it. I don't think it really matters what your weight is on a scale if you're happy when you look in a mirror. I'm happier now than I was, let's say, 3 years ago, but I'm not happy as I was, let's say, 10 years ago. And that's a big part of it, right? Is looking at yourself in the mirror. And we don't talk a lot about that. And we talk a lot about, body positivity and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just talking about myself when I talk about this, right? That it's about, like, when you look in the mirror at yourself naked, are you proud of yourself? And are you happy with what you see? And there are many days that I'm not. There are many days that I'm, like, picking things apart. And that goes into my body dysmorphia. That goes into a lot of the issues that I've had that I've worked on therapy deeply about, and also worked with my sponsor in recovery about. And it's a tough journey, and I think I thought I was going to do this and every week it would just be like a weigh-in and I talk about like all the successes I had over the week. I didn't realize the mental gymnastics that I would play in my head with all this kind of stuff. And it's a difficult journey, and I'm proud of myself that I've maintained and continued to lose a little bit each week. But this is not where I thought I would be at 14 weeks. I thought I would definitely I thought I'd be like 5 or 6 weeks ago. I'd already passed being below 200 pounds. And I definitely thought that I would by May be running, not just walking. And so I have several goals that my number one goal is that I have to get below 200 because my doctors want that as well. So that's my number one goal. My number two goal is that I want to get back to my walking, and I want to walk at least an hour every single night. Every single night, I want to get back. Unless we have something that we have to go do and it just does not fit into my schedule, I want to walk every single night for at least an hour. That will also help me get back into listening to more audiobooks because I've just been kind of stuck on that as well. And I've also been listening to music when I walk. That's the other thing. And then I want to get back into the lifting the weights because the lifting the weights actually really helps me too with, this is everybody knows this, but it's just like, and how your body looks, and it helps with a lot of weight loss. And I also feel a lot better when I'm lifting weights and things like that. And of course, more, water intake. But I know the thing is, it's so struggling. It's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so hard when you know the things you need to do. It's like for years and years and years on my videos when I'd say, well, I'm going to lose this amount of weight, or I'm going to lose that amount of weight, or I'm going to lose weight by this amount of time, whatever. And, a few people would say he'll never lose the weight, or, he'll be 10 pounds heavier. And like inside of me, like the saboteur inside of me knew that was probably true, that by that time that I would have gained 10 more pounds, or I wouldn't have met my goal, right? But what stands between me and that goal is myself. I'm fully aware of that. I don't blame it on anybody else. I don't blame it on having a food addiction or having emotional issues or body dysmorphia. I know what stands in the way of me being healthy in myself. And it's myself that stands in the way of that, right? It's me not putting on my walking shoes and going out to walk. It's me not attempting to run for a block and turning it into like where I'm running again, right? It's me not sitting down there for a half an hour to 45 minutes and lifting weights. It's me not keeping the journal. And all of these things are pretty simple. It's not like it's going to take 4 hours out of my day, right? Like, these are pretty simple things. So it's just about getting it done and doing it. And I've talked about that for, 3 or 4 weeks now in a row, where I've talked about, it's the timing's up to me of when I'm going to do it. And I think that's the question. And I think the answer to that is now. So this week was good for me because I was in my head a lot thinking about, like, this, that, the things to do, and you're just not doing them. I can't tell you how many times I looked over at those weights this week and thought, just go over there and just lift those weights for a couple days, but didn't do it, right? So the answer to the question is, when will it start? Or the question is, when will it start? And the answer is now. And I'm glad that I've lost weight since I was like 215.8. So I'm down 7.8 pounds since then, right? And I'm almost back to where I was when I, like, this whole thing in January. But I'm not where I want to be, right? And I'm also about the journey, not the destination. So for me, it's about learning all this. Because if I don't talk about this, and this is, I'm not just talking about this on video, I'm talking about with my husband, I'm talking about with my best friend, my therapist, my sponsor, other friends. And when I talk about it, like, it helps me to talk about it because it reminds me, I don't want this to be something where I reach this weight and then I'm like, ooh, I did it. Okay, well, you're there, so then there's nothing else to do. Because that's what I've done in the past. And then I didn't really care about keeping it up after that, you know? Well, a couple times I have where I kept on, like, you know, working out and things like that. But most times when I get to my goal weight, I'm like, oh, you hit your goal weight, right? Well, this is where the recovery piece really does come into play, because people ask me today, like, you're sober, why do you keep on going to meetings? Why do you have a sponsor? Why do you do steps? Well, because I want to continue to stay healthy. And that's a reminder for me that when I do reach that goal, and I will reach that goal, it's not an if, it's a when, I will reach that goal. It may be, you know, week 113 that I reach that goal. It might be week 42. I don't know when that week will be. But when I do reach that goal and I'm there, then it's going to be about reevaluating what got me there and what's going to keep me there, you know? Because that's important too, to keep you on this track. So I'm not like, I feel stuck. I'm not super disappointed. Like last week I was pretty disappointed. I don't feel really disappointed. I feel stuck. But I also know that I'm the one that stands in the way of being stuck or being unstuck, and it's up to me. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.